Oh, this is Wes Hickey, Chair of the Department of Educational Leadership at the University of Texas at Tyler. And for the week of February 15th, let's look at our weekly 5 and 5. In West Texas, there is a school that has taken advantage of the new legislation that requires 75,600 minutes a year for students, and they're making that fit within a 4-day school week. They still have teachers come in on Friday. They have some students that either need it because their parents are working or because they need extra work in certain areas to be able to come in on Friday. But this seems to be a pretty good plan. And I would not be surprised because of the importance of having students engaged is that being able to have most of the original engagement take place during the 4-day school week and then have the remediation periods and the intervention periods that take place on Friday. I think we're probably going to see this be something that other schools take advantage of sometime in the future. Looking at the idea that privatization of schools hurts schools. Now, I don't really have much of an issue. This is clearly a philosophical end on some areas. A lot of people think it's socialism to have public schools. A lot of people think it takes away from the religion of students in public schools. A lot of people have other arguments when it comes to this. But there's a simple fact of the matter. If you look at data-driven decision making, is that public schools in all areas that you look at, when you compare apples to apples, which means you don't just look at the poorest kids in public schools versus the richest kids in private schools. But if you compare poor to poor, rich to rich, you know, number of books in the household to the number of books in the household, if you compare apples to apples across the board, is that public schools do a better job than private schools or even charter schools. Now, charter schools actually, on some of the higher at-risk kids, there's some evidence to show that they do a better job there, but that is because they focused on that and they have something particularly for those kids. But study after study indicates that public schools do a better job than private schools when compare apples to apples. And so, if we're going to make decisions based upon the data that is out there, then we have to look at public schools being the place that we want to put our money. We look at school suspensions, model the wrong behavior for students, and I tend to over time. I mean, I reflect back, and I used in-school suspension quite often with students when I was a principal. But I think now, if I were doing it, what I would probably do is spend more time walking from room to room. And if I saw a kid misbehaving or a teacher sent it out, it would probably be a shorter term pull from classes. Because the truth of the matter is that not every kid behaves in the same way in every class. You have some teachers that never have kids that get in trouble, and they handle it because they have great strategies for making sure that their classroom is organized well. And why would we want to pull a kid from that classroom when they would get so much in it? And you would work with the other teachers, or you'd even work with the kid to make sure that they can adjust to whatever the teacher brings to the table. But I would probably now make things a lot smaller. I want to support the teacher and have the kid come out, at least for that class period that day, and then probably try to find a way to get the kid back into things a little bit later on. And of course, if you have it where that kid is a threat to himself or others because of fighting or because whatever you got to do to a different level. But many times we're suspending kids, especially for in-school suspension, for little minor offenses that I think if we try to take care of quickly, get the kid back into it, and then have some kind of a stepping area where where they go from step one to step two to step three, and they get greater consequences they go through. Is still very supportive of what's going on in that school and with that teacher. And we have the idea of sleep, and they talk about how important sleep is for long-term health. This is something I've been aware of for some time. When you look at athletics or academics or just about anything, any performance you do, is that when you have better sleep and more sleep, you tend to perform a lot better. And so when I talk to students, both when we look at certification exams on the principal and superintendent level, or when you talk to kids about STAR performance, is I remind them that they need to get in and get plenty of sleep before, because that is going to be as important as almost anything else that they will do. And then on the final area is one of our former students, Summer Galt, mentioned us in the Teaching Experience podcast. She was on the latest one. She was very complimentary about the program at UT Tyler. She graduated, I think, around 2011 or something like that. And so I was very excited to hear that. Sent her an email just to say thank you for the kind words, and really appreciate that. Because definitely at the University of Texas at Tyler, we like to see our students do well and perform at very high levels at wherever they go.